this was a bit of a hybrid session, outdoors, indoors, and what I would like to happen if I finally managed to get rid of this discomfort in the hip, because this was great in theory. In practice, it was a bit ruined by the fact that the upper body work was kind of challenging because of the hip discomfort. But funnily enough, anything that I did outside sprint-wise wasn't really affected, and I didn't really do any jumping in this session here, but I would also like to implement these on top of the sprinting stuff as soon as I'm able to develop a technique that I'm happy with. So in here, most of the warm-up was kind of focused on switching and getting to switch quickly while maintaining the hips at a steady level, the feet dorsiflexed, and then striking right under my body. And yeah, so that's all, right? It's simple, but it's complicated for me to do these things consistently and quickly. So when I'm trying to implement these in the first steps, I'm seeing mixed results. Sometimes I'm able to bring my knee up and switch quickly, but I forget to dorsiflex. Other times I do have nice low heel recovery and good dorsiflexion, but then I forget to switch quickly enough, and my first knee sort of stays up a bit too long, and that prevents the other foot from leaving the floor quickly and getting into a good rhythm, a good pace. I'm still focusing on the first step, but if I'm able to get the first step in well and immediately switch and get a good second step, I would consider that to be decent progress. And another thing that I'm also noticing is that in here I am kind of rehashing the right movement, kind of cueing myself into striking the floor kind of under me, pushing myself away from the ground. And this kind of ties in with what I was thinking about just now, about projecting myself forward. I'm noticing that even when I am doing good first steps, I am more focused on the leg technique and getting the movement right. And sometimes I am lacking this forward projection, and I end up being a bit too tall for where I should be. Now, I know it takes some time, and I am willing to devote this time, and I think that I am maybe overanalyzing myself, but it's probably a good thing at the very beginning where I am probably gonna make the most mistakes, and I would like to avoid those and spend more time now and less time later trying to fix things up. Then I moved over to the gym inside, and I wasn't really happy with what I was able to do. Unfortunately, the hip discomfort was preventing me from sitting comfortably and bracing and pushing overhead. As I said in the previous session, where my feet are not on the ground, and this kind of applies to the sitting overhead presses where my feet aren't really aiding me whatsoever. In fact, there was a session a few months ago where I almost slipped back and almost injured myself, potentially, because I wasn't really able to grip the floor with my feet. They're just sitting there, but it's not like in a squat or in a deadlift where I am bearing the whole weight of my body onto those feet. So yeah, it was a bit uncomfortable to do the overhead presses. The bracing was giving me discomfort, and overall not a pleasant experience. Even these handstands were a bit painful, so I called it quits.